Hello, my name is Catherine Macpherson and I'm the priest in charge at St Mary's Church in Fordon. I just wanted to take a few moments to give you a resource that you can use with children who are grieving at the moment. Many of us adults find it hard to talk about how we are feeling and what we are thinking when someone has died, and that is true for children as well. And so I want to tell you about this, which is a memory jar that you can make with children. It's really simple and you don't need many things to make it, but it's a really good way of having a conversation with a child who's lost someone that they care about and help them to process their grief. So what you're going to need is some kind of jar. I've just got an old glass jam jar here. You might have something nicer at home, but it doesn't have to be anything particularly posh. It's good for it to have a lid on though, so that the contents don't go flying everywhere once you've made it. The second thing you're going to need is some normal table salt. Just cheap table salt is all you'll need. I use just down to here, so quite a lot, in order to fill this jar, just to give you an idea. Then you're going to need a set of colouring chalks. I had some jumbo chalks in the cupboard, just like this, but you can pick up them in most supermarkets. Chalk rather than crayons is what you need for the powderiness. And then you're just going to need some sheets of paper and fold them in half. So it's really simple. The idea is that each coloured chalk in here represents a different memory of the person who has died. So you'd sit down with a child on their own or a group of children and ask them to start thinking about their memories of the person who died. And once they've got a memory in their mind, I don't know, say Granny was always smiling, you would get them to put some salt onto their paper, a little heap of salt, and then you ask them to think of a colour that goes with that memory. So Grandma was always happy, you might think of yellow for sunshine. And you start to colour the salt with that coloured chalk. You might need to go for quite a while until the white salt starts to turn to the colour that you've chosen. And then you kind of tip the jar slightly on an angle and pour in that memory. And that's where, when you tip it on the angle, it won't just go in straight, but you'll get some of these nice colours going across. And then you just keep going with different memories. So in here I've got some different ones. I've got yellow and pink and blue and green and purple. And you keep going, and each time you talk about the memory, you talk about the person and all that that person meant. And because it takes quite a while to do this, but you've got something to focus on as you're doing it, it's a really helpful way to help children talk about the person who has died, who they love, and to start to process what they're thinking and feeling. So just remember to put the cap on tightly when you're done, and then you might like to put the jar, when it's finished, on the mantelpiece, and it stays there in the room as a reminder of that person. And it's also a reminder that it's fine to talk about that person. The child might see it out of the corner of their eye when they're watching the telly, and it will remind them of whoever it is, and they might start up that conversation again to help them with the grief that they've got at the moment. So why not get some chalk and some salt and have a go at this if you've got a child who's struggling to talk about grief at the moment. God bless.